Hey guys, welcome to Music Evolve's how-to series on Sleigh Ride. Today we're going to be going over the rhythm guitar parts. First we're going to start with learning all the different chords that are in this song, and there's a lot of them. This song, like many of my other Christmas arrangements, are in C. So some of these chords you might already know from your own experiences, or if you've seen my other how-to series, then you might know a lot of these chords as well. Being that we're in the key of C, the primary chord is going to be C. So C major 7 is going to pretty much be the first chord we learn in the song. We'll be playing the C on the 3rd fret of the A string. Then 5th fret of the D string is where we get our G. 4th fret of the G string is where we get our B. 5th fret of the B string is where we get our E. Root, 5th, major 7th, and major 3rd. So that's the first chord. Now this song follows a really cool chord progression that's used commonly in jazz and pop music as well. It's called a 1, 6, 2, 5 chord progression. Some call it a 6-2-5-1. There's different ways we can organize it, but those are the chords that are the majority of this song. So that was the first chord. Now the next one we're going to learn is A minor 7, which we're going to play right here just to have like a quick, easy little box that we can jump back and forth instead of trying to jump around the guitar. It's best to just kind of find a quick and efficient way to do it. So this A minor 7 is pretty much one of the easiest chords you can play. Just bar the 5th fret, and then on the A string, put a finger on the 7th fret of the A string. So you have 5, 7, 5, 5, 5, 5. Pretty easy. A, E, G, C, E, and A. Root, 5th, minor 7th, minor 3rd, 5th again, and then there's the octave up top. That's the A minor 7. Now we're going to stay in that same exact position, and we're going to just move a couple fingers around to get that D minor 7. So the D we get there on the 5th fret of the A string, then the A we get on the 7th fret of the D string, then we get the C on the 5th fret of the G string, then we get the F on the 6th fret of the B string, and then if you want, you can get that 5th again at the top of the E string on the 5th fret. So you have the root, 5th, minor 7, minor 3rd, and the 5th again. D minor 7. We get to our G7. We'll be playing on the low E string, the 3rd fret. 3, 5, 5th fret of the A string, we get the D. 3rd fret of the D string, we get the F. 4th fret of the G string, we get the B. 3rd fret of the B string, we get the D. And then if you want, you can double the root up top on the high E string on the 3rd fret. That's the G7 chord. If you've watched my other series, I go over this G7 to G13, just kind of a cool way to enhance the dominant, to make it sound a little more pretty. So the way we do that is we just take that D on the B string on the 3rd fret, and we move it up to the 5th fret of the B string to get the E, which is the 13th. So we have the root, the 5th, the minor 7, the major 3rd, the 5th again, and the root for the G7. Now for the G13, we got the root, the 5th, the minor 7, the major 3rd, and then the 13th that becomes, and the root again. Those are all the chords for the verse, but I transform one of those G7s to a G7 flat 13. So that 13 you just learned, I don't go to the 5th fret, I go to the 4th fret. So it's a flatted 13. Now I don't want to go into all the theoretical applications of that or why I did that, but you can do it if you want to, you don't have to. I just do that to transition into the next section. So that would just be the same exact fretting that we used for the G13th or the G7, but instead of being on the 5 or 3, we go in between on that 4. So 3, 5, 3, 4, 4, 3. Then we move into the chorus. That starts with an F sharp minor 7, which we're going to play way up here. And the reason I move way up here is because this little shape is going to kind of keep continuing to move down back toward where we started. We could play it here, but it would kind of mess up the flow of how we play this part. So we're going to play it here on the 9th fret of the A string. That's our F sharp. Then the 11th fret of the D string, that's our C sharp. 9th fret of the G string, that's the E. 10th fret of the B string, that's the A. And then if you want, you can hit that high E string on the 9th fret to get the 5th again, which is C sharp. So it's root, 5th, minor 7, minor 3rd, 5th again. F sharp, minor 7. Then we jump down a couple of frets to the low E string to get this B7. You can play it as a B trad if you want as well. So 7th fret for B, 9th fret for F sharp, 7th fret of the D string for A, 8th fret of the G string for a D sharp, then the 7th fret of the B string for an F sharp, and then if you want you can double your root there at the top on the 7th fret of the high E to get another B. So it's root, 5th, minor 7, major 3rd, 5th again, and octave again. That's the B7. Now we're going to stay in that same position and just move our hands around to get a nice E major 7. So we're going to be on that 7th fret of the A, that's E. Then we're going to get the 9th fret of the D, that's B. 8th fret of the G, which is D sharp. The 9th fret of the B, which is G sharp. Then you can double the 5th at the top on the high E at the 7th fret. That's the E major 7. Root, 5th, major 7th, major 3rd, and then the 5th again. So now we played a F sharp minor, B7, E major 7. To some of the experienced guitarists, you guys probably know that as a 2-5-1. A minor 7th, which is the 2nd chord of E major, B7, the 5th chord of E major, and E major, which is the 1st chord of E major. Now the cool thing that a lot of jazz guys do is they'll take that 2-5-1 and put it all over the guitar and really get good at memorizing that and hearing that and other things, and it's a really good tool to help you play in different keys. Now the cool thing they did in that song is they do a really cool jazz trick where the 1 becomes a new 2. This part might confuse some of you more beginner guitarists, so you can just disregard the 2-5-1 relationship and just play those chords. But for the more advanced players, the 1 becomes the new 2, and they play the same exact 2-5-1 again and again to get back to the first key they're in, which I think is really cool. But anyhow, that E major 7 becomes an E minor 7. Okay? So we got to switch our fingers around just a little bit. Still the 7th fret of the A, still the 9th fret of the D. Now this is where the change happens. 7th fret of the G, 8th fret of the B. That's it. So from here to here. So the major 7 and the major 3rd become a minor 7 and a minor 3rd. G sharp and D sharp become just a G natural and a D natural. From the E minor 7, we go to the A7. 5th fret of the low E, 7th fret of the A, 5th fret of the D, 6th fret of the G, 5th fret of the B, and 5th fret of the high E, which is the root, the 5th, the minor 7th, the major 3rd, the 5th again, and the octave. A, E, G, C sharp, E, and A again. A7. And then we play D major 7. 5th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D, 6th fret of the G, 7th fret of the B, and the 5th fret of the high E. Root, 5th, major 7, major 3rd, 5th. D, A, C sharp, F sharp, and then A. Then that D major 7 becomes a D minor 7, which you already know. Then down to the G7, you already know, and a C major 7, which you already know also. Now that's pretty much the whole entire chorus part. Now the little bridge in this song, where there's a happy feeling that nothing in the world can buy, it starts on a C major 7. Now what I do to kind of make it a little more complex is I play an E minor 7 on top of the bass playing the C, which makes a C major 9. So you can go ahead and play C major 9 if you know it, or you can play an E minor 9 in this really easy position. I play it here, where you guys already learned, on the 7th fret of the A, and then I jump down and play the C major 7 open in an open position. Now how I do that is I play the low G, which is the 5th of C, I play the G on the low E string on the 3rd fret, I play the C on the 3rd fret of the A string, I play the E on the 2nd fret of the D string, and then I play the G, B, and E open. So it's the 5th, the root, the 3rd, the 5th, the major 7, and the major 3rd. And then it plays a regular C. So you could play a regular C open, like you might have learned, or you could play it in the A position. I played in the A position just to have my hands in the same type of shape for the rest of this part. C on the 3rd fret of the A, G, the 5th fret of the D, C again, the 5th fret of the G, E, the 5th fret of the B, and G, the 3rd fret of the E. The root, the 5th, the octave, the major 3rd, the 5th again. And then I play an F, F major, on the 1st fret of the low E, then the 3rd fret of the A, then the 3rd fret of the D, the 2nd fret of the A, 1st fret of the B, and 1st fret of the E string, high E, which is F, C, F, A, C, F. Root, 5th, octave, major 3rd, 5th, root again, octave. And then we slide that up to G, which is the same exact shape. G, D, G, B, D, G. Root, 5th, octave, major 3rd, 5th, octave again. 3, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5. And then we play the A minor, which is just like the A minor 7 we already played. 5 on the low E, 7 on the A, 7 on the D, 5 on the G, 5 on the B, 5 on the E. Root, 5th, octave, minor 3rd, perfect 5th, and the octave again. Then after that A minor, it's an E major chord. I played in the open position, which I'm sure most of you already know, but it's open on the low E, 2nd fret on A, 2nd fret on D, 1st fret on G, open on B, and open on E, which is the root, 5th, octave, major 3rd, 5th, octave, E, B, E, G sharp, B, E. So it plays that. Then it plays an F sharp minor, which we play right here on the 2nd fret of the low E string, 4th fret of the A, 4th fret of the D, 2nd fret of the G, 2nd fret of the B, 2nd fret of the high E. Root, 5th, octave, minor 3rd, 5th, octave. F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A, C sharp, F sharp. F minor, and that's the 2 of E, which we just came from, and it plays a little 2, 5, 1 again, and the 5 would be B. So we play the B, 2nd fret of the A string, 4th fret of the D string, 4th fret of the G string, 4th fret of the B string, and 2nd fret of the high E string. And that's a B major chord. Now it plays that back into an E major again, before hitting a quick D minor, G, to circle it back around to C major again. So it plays a 1, 2, 5, 1 in the key of E, before quickly playing a 2, 5, 1 in C. You already know that D minor, you already know that G7, and you already know that C major 7. Now it almost repeats that entire section again, except it cuts off that whole 2, 5, 1 in E and goes straight to the D minor 7 to G7. Now Sleigh Ride was one of my all-time favorite Christmas classics, And one thing I heard in most of the versions that I always loved was there was a modulation in the middle of the song, pretty much right after this part. So now we take that 2-5-1, D minor, G7, C major, and we go up a half step with it. So we play D minor to G7, but we don't play C major 7. We play D sharp minor to G sharp 7 before beginning the very first part again, now in C sharp instead of C. And now we play everything a half step up. We basically just play that verse that we went over, and then that chorus, and we just play those a half step up. We don't play that bridge again, luckily, because that would be a little trickier to transpose up a half step. But we're going to go over it just to help you kind of get through that transposition process, that modulation from C to C sharp.